Where you going? What are you drinking tonight? Let's keep 'em flowing. Where do you come from? Where you going? What are you feeling tonight? And what are you showing? Where do you come from? 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 Where you going? What are you drinking tonight? Let's keep 'em flowing.
Oh, the music stopped.
Oh, there we are. We're just having a party down here.
Heck yeah.
Awesome intro. I want to give a huge shout out to Oh My Gosh and Filthy. That's Jonathan, both my friends. They put together that tune. It's absolutely smashing. It's a great one. Yes, we are here, Super PlayStation Bros. We are talking PlayStation today. I'm joined by Dorgon. What's going on? How are you doing this week?
I'm well, dude. I'm very well. The sun is shining here in the UK. We've had a solid week of over 20 degrees Celsius, which is lovely, nice and warm. We can get out in shorts and t-shirts. I decided to dig the garden over at some point, replace my lawn with wildflowers. So, I've been knackered all week, but good for the fitness.
Oh, wow. You're out there with your green thumb, doing what you can.
Broken thumbs is nearer the mark, but yeah.
Well, we're sorry we missed last week, but we're back at it, and we're talking the showcase, and we're having a lot of fun. But before we get into it, what have you been gaming on this week? Tell me a little bit about that. Have you jumped into the new season of Destiny, done some MMO fishing, as any MMO has now?
Every MMO needs fishing, and yeah, they went ahead, threw fishing into Destiny, and yes, I have done some fishing. I've been playing a lot of the season. I've been playing it with my clan, the Nerd Migos, like these guys. Woo! Shirts and everything we've got.
Nice.
So yeah, I've been playing with those guys. It's been a great bit of fun. The new story content, the new seasonal content, it's all great. I love where the story is going in that regard. So that's been a huge amount of fun. I've also been playing Humanity, that day and date release on PlayStation Plus about 2 weeks ago now, like the Thursday after our first show. That has been an absolute joy of a puzzle game to get into. Really profound story as well, like quite heavy hitting in the world that we're living in and what have you, and quite challenging to actually get to the end and achieve some of those trophies. So yeah, very, very impressed with what I've been playing recently. It's all been top tier. I've just been having a whale of a time. I really have. And then most of it I've been spending outside and just coming in to cool off with a bit of game time.
I did not
what about you?
expect introspective perspectives on Humanity. I thought it was just going to be like flashy points and chaos, but
I thought so too. But yeah, profound story. I was very nicely shocked by that one. What about you? What have you been up to?
For myself, it's just been I've been playing on an untitled system, a childhood game from my past, but more focusing in on PlayStation. I have been getting into Destiny 2. I've been getting through the new season, jumped into that opening story, pressurized water, finding the air pockets, also playing with some of the new weapons, got the new fragments. I was very happy to see my Void Lock have an extra slot available, so I can add even more devastation to my grenades. Which is ultimately my favorite build right now, which is Void Lock. I know you're a hunter, but
I am, yeah. I've become a Strand Hunter. I've become a Green Boy. And I'm stuck between all of the suspends, because I love all of the suspends. Just suspend everything, kill it. That's great. Or Dodgy McDodge Boy, where you just, with the new fragment, you leave like a a fake version of yourself behind, and then the enemies attack that, and it
Oh,
creates threadlings that then go and attack them. And that has been huge amounts of fun with Radiant Dance Machines because I'm just dodging all the time, and my left behind selves are doing the work for me. I don't even need a gun.
oh wow! So it's like a decoy.
Full decoy,
I have
yeah.
not gone into it. Oh man, they just keep evolving and evolving. I need to explore more of Strand, and I may just get back into being a hunter, all for that Aloy skin. We'll
Yeah.
see where I go from there.
Wibble's currently running
Yeah.
around as the god of war, so yeah, I get it.
Oh, I don't know. I wasn't like a huge fan of Kratos' armor set, but I can be a little judgy, and I don't have that. I'm not like, oh, that's such a great samurai outfit. It's
Yeah,
just the
the
Aloy
Ghost one
is
was a
pulling
tad
me in.
underwhelming, wasn't it? But I
Yeah,
like Ghost of Tsushima. I'm going to get them all when they come in the Bright Dust store. I've got the Aloy one for silver, but I'm not made of money.
yeah. Oh my gosh. But yes, let's get into the showcase. Um, so obviously last week, unless you were living under a rock, the showcase was occurring. We'll just play this here. We can talk over some of these feature videos. So I wanted to say that my initial thoughts, I mean, I loved seeing all of these new games and getting excited for a bunch of IPs,
Yeah,
a bunch of new experiences. I mean, for me, I was absolutely blown away by an hour of new content that I was ready to play. It was only afterwards that I heard sort of the retrospect and the review of, sort of like the Twitterverse and some other voices as well. But what were your thoughts, your perspective? Were you blown away? Were you expecting more? How did you feel maybe coming out of it?
I felt like it was a PlayStation showcase, and I don't think that's either a good or a bad thing. We've had this same sort of setup for 7 years now, since 2016. We've had this sort of setup with the PlayStation showcases. They come out and they just give you trailer after trailer after trailer after trailer, and some of them have launch dates, some of them don't. Some of them are just announced, some of them are gameplay and coming very soon. Some of them you get deep introspective, deep look into, like we got with Marvel Spider-Man 2. Some of them you get just a CG trailer like this with Metal Gear Solid Snake Eater remake. And it was exactly what I expected from a PlayStation showcase. We had 35 games showed off, 35 announcements in total, all of which are going to be released within the next 18 months, because there was nothing with a release date beyond 2024. So everything shown is coming in 18 months. I think for me, I'm just tired of the structure. I've been watching this for 7 years at this point with PlayStation, and I want them to mix it up a bit. I want someone to come out and talk about something. There were a couple of games in here like Concord and Marathon and Co. that I only learned what they were after when I went and read other articles. I kind of want that in the showcase. I want the showcase to get me hyped for these sort of things. I don't want to have to go and read about them elsewhere to get that level of hype. So I want to shake up the structure, but I don't think there was anything untoward or bad about it in that regard. I do get people's thoughts and feelings when they're saying it felt underwhelming, because there was a lot of talk from people like Jeff Grubb beforehand about the second coming of PlayStation 5. And this wasn't it. This wasn't a big second coming. It wasn't like the PS5 announcements showcases or anything like that. This was just a good, solid, this is what you're getting on PlayStation in the next 18 months.
Yeah, and I think that's important. It's, as a PlayStation user, this is what you should be excited for in the upcoming times. A lot of people were saying, "Hey, where are the PlayStation First studios?" After 600 days, it opened up with Fair Play from Haven Studios. I mean, big shout out to the Canadian Jade Raymond, making waves in the gaming industry. Got to give it out for the Canadians. But was that the CGI trailer? Was that the opening that you were expecting after 600 days? I know a lot of people were saying that maybe CGI wasn't enough for the Haven Studios introductory game. It wasn't enough for the opening. In my mind, I was first blown away by it, But I don't have that experience with PlayStation showcases where, oh, I really should have been expecting gameplay multiple times. I should have been expecting multiple first party studios. So these are sort of the things that I was met with afterwards. But like you
Yeah,
were
yeah.
saying, it's good to see. These are games that you're going to get access to in the next 18 months as a PlayStation user. But was Haven the opening that you were expecting?
It wasn't. I was actually very nicely surprised that Haven came first. I wasn't expecting them to be present at all, if I'm being honest with you. They were acquired by Sony in 2021 after having started work upon a game that wasn't initially going to be just PlayStation. They started work on this game that they were making, and then they were speaking with Sony about publishing, and Sony acquired the studio in whole as PlayStation first party PlayStation Studios company. And I was really nicely surprised that they felt good enough about this game, this studio, to put them right at the opening. I was very surprised by what it was after all the talk that they've had, especially coming from like the Stadiaverse, that company, and Ubisoft Montreal, because that's essentially what Haven is. It's the Ubisoft Montreal of old, the guys that made the Prince of Persia games, the original Assassin's Creed and Watch Dogs games. So there's quality, there's definitely a level of ability within there that shaped and defined the industry as we know it today. I just wasn't expecting what looked like Payday, but competitive. And I'm very interested by it. I loved the Payday series. I have been willing to get back into it at some point with a team and what have you, but it looks interesting. I'm intrigued to find out more, and I think that's what it needed for an opening, a bit of intrigue. But I get what people are saying. They wanted Naughty Dog to come out and say, this is Factions and this is when you can play it. Or they wanted Sucker Punch to come out and say, here's the first look at Ghost of Tsushima 2. But I don't think we're going to get either of those until they are ready to be shown, because this is what PlayStation do, what Sony do. They show it when it's ready. And that ready might be, this is the initial concept, this is the hype point, this is to get you interested or curious as to what something may be. They did the same with Stray, they did the same with this Marvel Spider-Man 2. They announced that in 2021, saying it was coming in 2023, and all we had was a CG trailer for 2 years. All we had was a CG trailer, and nobody had any problems with that. So I think it was a good opening. I was nicely surprised by it. But I can also see why people were taken aback. It's not a standard PlayStation Studios type release. It's a live service, action-adventure shooter type game that isn't the strong story-driven single-player experiences that PlayStation fans and gamers are used to.
And that's important what you're saying there on the last point is I think what PlayStation is doing is they're experimenting and moving away from that first person story mode gaming experience that they're kind of getting shoehorned into. I mean, we saw Bungie, which is now first party studio, coming out with an extraction shooter, which in all minds people are confused about. However, we have some people at Bloomberg articles writing that they are foreseeing that extraction shooters are going to be the next big trend after this battle royale phase is kind of burnt out. So is this really them looking into a crystal ball and saying, hey, Payday, these types of heist genre games are going to be big, extraction shooters are going to be big, and we are going to be right on top of that when it happens?
It's possible.
This is what I'm seeing.
I'm seeing more of a... They're trying to diversify the portfolio. As you said, PlayStation are known for like the first party open world RPGs, the likes of your Spider-Mans, Horizons, God of Wars, even your Uncharted's and such. These strong narrative driven single player experiences. That's what PlayStation have built their brand on since about midway through the PlayStation 3 era. But what I'm seeing here is akin to that early PlayStation 3 era where they lost ground to Microsoft by being the most expensive console, by being so difficult to develop for with that cell processor rather than standard sort of NVIDIA technology and what have you. And I am seeing sort of parallels where they just threw everything at the wall to see what would stick with their first party studios. And when they found things, they then dove into that a bit more. I'm seeing that on the games of a service option here, that they're throwing things at the wall, see what sticks. Who knows? They might all stick. None of them might stick. I I like the experimentation. It could be a very expensive experiment for Sony, but I think it is one of the better ways for them to keep that position as the market leaders for your big AAAs such as this, with stupendous graphics, mechanics, and they want the longevity with it as well, which you don't get with the likes of Marvel Spider-Man 2. It's play the story, maybe play it twice, come back to it in 3 or 4 years. You don't have people sticking around and paying month on month, season on season like you do with, say, Destiny 2, one of their other first-party development games now. And I think it's good for them to diversify. A lot of people have been saying they've been getting boring with their first-party releases, all being these open-world RPG-type ideas. So I'm all for it. I'm all for the diversification, but we'll have to see. Proof's going to be in when these things release.
Exactly. Well said. And now I wanted to touch on the Firewalk Studios. So this was a newly purchased studio. A lot of heads from a lot of exciting studios who came together and obviously created this IP Concord, which we got essentially a teaser trailer, which kind of just looked like a spaceship and lights, from what I remember. But now if you go into Twitter, you can find out that this is actually going to be a multiplayer first-person shooter.
Yep.
But what more do we know? Not too much. I'm excited to see what they have to come out with. I'm hoping it doesn't take 2 more years before we see gameplay. However, in my mind, I think we won't hear again from Concord until 2025. But I guess that's what the showcase is for.
Didn't they have a 2024 date on it? Because I don't remember anything being announced for later than 2024.
My notes show that Fair Play, Firewalk Studios, and Marathon all have questionable release dates. Like, they do not have a window of release.
Right, okay. So they just got announced, no date upon them. Fair enough.
Yes, yeah.
It'd be interesting, because, like you say...
Yeah, out of the 35, like you said, majority of them are coming out in 18 months, if not all of them. However, these 3 I noted just no release date or window as of yet.
Fair play. That's no real problem. We've still got 33 announcements in 18 months, which, when you consider what the rivals have put out there, like, don't get me wrong, Nintendo always come out 40 games in 40 minutes sort of thing. They're a bit ridiculous on that front with their directs. But it's all from like first party and partner developers, same as we got here. It's what's coming to the Switch. And Microsoft is just, I don't know what they do with their showcases. They spent an hour talking about 5 games in January. But I'm glad that we got 35 sort of thing.
Yeah, I mean, I feel like it was game after game, excitement experience after exciting experience. They even dived into VR. They made it extremely exciting. I don't have a VR personally. However, that zombie game just looked like so much fun, right? The Arizona Sunshine 2. The Resident Evil 5 remake put the Oculus 2 to shame. Oh my gosh, it looks so
looking forward to that original one, the Dreamscape one, where they have to go in and get, like, you're that assassin and you've got like telekinetic powers and shooting. I'm really looking forward to that one. I've had my VR2 out this week. I've been playing Humanity on it, and I've been playing a bit of Beat Saber as well. So lightsabers to music, it's great. I'm looking forward to a bunch of new VR stuff. I'm new to the world, and it works a lot better when I've got, glasses that help me actually see and not just a blurry fuzz in front of my face. So yeah, I'm looking forward to a bunch more titles coming there. They've been good so far. I wouldn't say they've been earth-shattering or amazing, but there's a lot coming for the VR2 to hopefully make it worthwhile the purchase, especially with the discounts that it's seen in the last week or 2.
Yeah. We got this huge discount coming in through the way. Am I correct? What are they called? Days of Play, where you get 15% off of accessories and titles all throughout the PlayStation Store.
You do indeed. There's also, if you do live here in the UK, there is a department store called John Lewis that have currently knocked £50 off the PSVR 2. So rather than that £500 price point, it's $450, which is less than the console now. So that's a nice little price cut which is pretty good if you just want to pick up the headset and play a bunch of demos first off. It's the ecosystem's looking a bit better. It's looking good.
That's important. Hey, Ray. Hey, Crystal. Thanks for stopping on in.
Hey, guys.
This game has also got my attention. Marathon, I don't know if you followed, but in the trailer, they came out with an ARG code. They sent even content creators a puzzle. It was then further access to a video which was waiting for 7,777 people to watch.
Standard Bungie with the sevens. Yep.
Yeah. Which then revealed the video doc, I believe they call it, in-depth interview with everyone behind Marathon. And you got to hear some exciting things like, will your crew be the first one to find artifacts to unlock zones and be recognized on a world scale? I mean, some of these things are beyond exciting. They've taken elements that in day one raids, it seems, and brought it into just the regular universe that is Marathon. They're creating a whole new planet, new lore, ghost ships, transporting people to different colonies. I'm beyond excited for it, and I think Bungie is able to hit it out of the park.
I have no doubt that it's going to be a fantastically handling game. No doubt in my mind at all. Bungie haven't ever made anything that doesn't work well. You look at what they've currently got on the market in Destiny 2. You look at what they did before that in the Halo series. And before Halo, they did Marathon. Marathon was a first-person shooter on Apple devices way back when. And they've always handled superbly. I've got no doubt about that. I'm very intrigued to see how this new version of Marathon links in with the original versions of Marathon, whether the lore dictates stays the same. I know this is an extraction shooter and not a first-person, single-player, story-driven first-person shooter, but I'm very interested to see how the lore of old works with the lore of new. I love lore in games. I love diving into the story and seeing what's going on there, and I'm hoping that they've got something quite special for us.
Yeah, and I think they've already showed it. If you saw the vid doc, I don't know,
Yeah.
I was getting goosebumps with all of the things that they were teasing at that they were going to say. And then I think the worst part of it was just the fact that we're going to be going dark for an extended period of time. Like, I just wanted it to be released tomorrow and all that action. But however, my theory is that we'll see Marathon after the final shape seasons runs its course.
Quite likely,
that
yeah.
would be
So
my best
2025.
guess.
Yeah.
What I'm not sure about is what will happen to Destiny after that. Will they progress to a new story? Will they change engines? Will they release a new game? What does Bungie have in store for the future of the Guardians? Not too sure.
They've always said that it will go beyond this light and darkness saga that we've been living for the past 10 years. And they always said initially it'd be a 10-year story. So they'll finish this up, and then there will be more. Whether that will be immediately, whether it will be within an annual release, whether it will be a new game entirely on a new engine, we don't know. We'll let them tell us as and when. But from a Destiny perspective, I'm just looking forward to how the story of this light and dark saga that I've been playing for 10 years winds up.
Absolutely. Now, I wanted to break into a couple, I guess, predictions or first-party studios that people were, I guess, predicting to see and sort of get your take on it. So, Ben Studio, from what I heard, they're developing a new fantasy IP, and that was from the Days Gone engine. However, we didn't see anything teased and anything talked about there. We have seen a tweet from them saying they're working on something, but my assumption is that they're just not ready to show anything.
That would be my assumption. It's something I simultaneously like and dislike about PlayStation and Sony. They will show something off when it's ready. So when they've got the full concept and they've got a development timeline, look at God of War Ragnarok. They showed that off as just a little teaser of the logo at the end of the PlayStation 5 original showcase, saying that it was coming in 2021. Then Chris Judge ruined his knee and it got delayed by 12 months. But they showed that off and they didn't give you a release date. They just said, this is coming. And that was enough to build fever pitch hype for it. I like that they do that. They show something when a concept is ready. And then they show gameplay when the gameplay is ready. So it was only 2022 that we then saw God of War Ragnarok gameplay, which just looked fantastic. And then randomly on a Thursday afternoon, they'll come out with a 30-second trailer and give you a release date of November 15th for God of War Ragnarok or whatever it was. And I love that process. They don't need these big showcases. They don't need to sit down at Summer Games Fest. This is when you'll get this game. This is when you'll get this game. They don't need to tell you, oh, it's releasing on this date and then delay it 6 or 7 times. When they know it's coming out, when they've got everything in place, they'll give you a release date. And I like that because it's a one and done type scenario. You know exactly where you stand with it. And I do like that. And if we're in a situation with Bend where, say, they're still in the conceptualizing stage, where they're coming up with the story, the world, the characters, how it's all going to look, how it's going to operate, I would rather not see that until it's ready. It's the same with other first-party studios that we didn't see, like Sucker Punch, like Naughty Dog, like basically anything else that we saw. 4 or 5 PlayStation Studios titles, I want to say, maybe a couple more. But
do you think we should have seen something from Fire Sprite on Twisted Metal? I feel like we've heard a lot from Twisted Metal. I mean, a teaser, anything? I mean,
if it's not ready, I'd rather not see it. But we've also got to remember that this has been coming. We've only known about this for a week before it happened. But we know about Summer Games Fest in a few weeks' time, middle of June. And PlayStation are appearing there. Have they held a few things back for the Summer Games Fest, maybe? A couple of big announcements, like they did with The Last of Us television series and The Last of Us Part 1 remake last year. That was all announced at the Summer Games Fest. So are they holding a couple of things back, maybe? Are there a couple of things that weren't quite ready for this showcase that will come to that showcase? Maybe they couldn't get the trailer together in time. Maybe they didn't have everything in place. There's many variables in these sort of things. And maybe it's a case of, hey, Papa Sony, we need more time. Can you give us more time? And historically, when a studio has said that to Sony for a PlayStation title release, they've given them more time. With the question being, will it make the game better? Yes, then do it. I would have liked to have seen more, but I'm not disappointed.
I would have liked
to
see
not seeing
Wolverine. It. I would have bet money that we would have seen Wolverine after a 2021 trailer.
I don't think we'll see anything because it said then it was a concept stage. I don't think we'll see anything for Wolverine until after Spider-Man 2 is released.
I get that. I guess I was just hoping for Sony to come out with a yearly Marvel exciting experience. And maybe that's too much of an ask. I think maybe we'll see that in a 2-year cycle.
When it's the one studio working on all of them, when it's only Insomniac, who are basically holding up the entire gaming industry at the moment, it seems. Yeah, we can't expect an annual release from them. It's a bit much on the scale of the games that they make.
The last thing I'll say is the Team Asabi with Astro. I would have bet on a new VR, which took full advantage of every aspect. I
would have been happy with an update to Astrobot Rescue Mission from the original VR, because I never got to play that. I didn't have PlayStation VR on the PS4. I've only had it on the PS5. So an update of that old title would have been amazing for me. Like, Beat Saber got announced during that showcase and then was available on the PlayStation Store. Brilliant. Love it. And if you had the PS4 version, I believe you got a free upgrade to the PS5 version for VR2. So I was all here for that. I was hoping for the same from Team Asobi, but that didn't materialize. I don't know what they're working on. They've always made beautifully cute, fun games that take huge advantage of the hardware at hand. So I'm happy to wait for it to come out, but I would have liked to have seen something, definitely, yeah.
Yeah. Well, that's awesome. And massive statistics coming out from the showcase. Over 4 million people tuned into the showcase. It had a peak viewership of 2.6 million viewers. Absolutely amazing. And actually, they're showing that YouTube overtook Twitch to become the most favored platform for the event. And it saw almost a 10% rise year over year. So, interesting to see. I guess Twitch is making some changes that are really unfavorable to viewers, and I guess we saw that play out there. I just thought
I
that
think
was
we have
that
to
was a fun
remember
little-
as well that most players aren't streamers. Most players don't have friends that stream. So most players are going to be your standard consumer who all have YouTube because everybody watches YouTube. So when there's one of these events, they're going to watch it on the platform that they have the existing access to. They're not going to go and set up a Twitch
Well
account
said.
or anything. And that's why I think you're seeing such a big rise in the YouTube viewership, just because they are your standard consumers. And that is who Sony, Microsoft, Nintendo, Nvidia, everybody is trying to get to spend bucks, because there's more of them than us hardcore.
So this Ghost Runner game that's running. in
Oh
the
my
back
god,
corner,
bring it, give it, just inject it into my veins, please. Give me more Ghost Runner.
I heard that it's a one shot and you're dead
Yes.
game.
Yes.
What?
It is brutal.
Oh
It's
my
brilliant.
god!
The thing is, it's an instant reset to about 3 meters back. It's not a punishing
Okay.
reset like in the Dark Souls. It is a fast paced go. If you get hit, you reset to the last checkpoint, which is really close behind, and it's trial and error and
All right.
perfecting your strikes and your movements. It's a fast paced first person parkour combat thing. I loved the original Ghost Runner. It is currently on PlayStation Plus Extra and Premium. If you have those, play it and love it. It's amazing.
I'll have to try it. I mean, it looked phenomenal when I was watching it. It looked beyond cool. So
The story is
definitely have
intense
to
as
try
well. It's so much fun. It's absolutely stunning. I've got no bad things really to say about Ghost Runner other than I'm not great at it.
Raven Anime Five Nights at Freddy on VR. I feel like that will be a console seller. A lot of people are going to want to jump into
There's
that
a lot
experience.
of people that like it, yeah. It's not for
and
me.
with this one, how good does this look? I was just blown away by how good this looks.
It looks amazing. It really does. And if you haven't put one of the PSVRs on your head, but you've experienced another VR, they are worlds apart. I've used the HTC Vive 2 Pro, which is a
Wow.
£1,200 headset, and that needs a PC to run. So that is a headset
Oh
that's
boy.
like 2 and a bit times as much as the PSVR 2, and the visuals and fidelity, the way that PSVR 2 works, is way better than that in my experience from what I've played anyhow. And I am looking forward to things like this.
Wow.
I'm gonna jump out my
Wow.
skin, probably hit the roof. But I love that you can block with the knife as well, like he's just done there. The whole bring your hand up and block. That's not something easily done in the main game. But the fact you've got that freedom of movement, your arms are the character's arms.
Oh,
Stopping a chainsaw
Oh
with
my
a
gosh.
hand knife. It's great.
it looks horrifying.
It looks
horrifying.
brilliant, yeah. Horrifyingly brilliant, yeah. Bring it on.
All right. Well, is there anything else you wanted to mention in regards to the showcase before we head on to our next topic?
I have to touch on the Assassin's Creed Mirage trailer because I have been a fan of Assassin's Creed since 2007, and this trailer has destroyed the franchise for me. I think I am done with Assassin's Creed forevermore. I was all on board. I was all for it. It was the Assassin's Creed that I wanted for much of that trailer. The stealth, the movement, the hidden blade executions, and then they threw in the magic teleporting stuff, which completely undermines the series. Fare thee well, Assassin's Creed. I'm sorry. I was so disappointed in that.
To me, Assassin's Creed died off, I think, with just after I beat Odyssey. I
Odyssey,
felt
it definitely
very
got
fatigued.
it got Fatigued in Odyssey. I was basically admitting it was dead 2 hours into Valhalla. I still put over 100 hours into it just to complete it to put a review up.
Wow.
And then they were like, oh, we're going to go back to basics. We're going to do one for the core fans, the fans who built the franchise, and they're throwing everything into it that those fans don't want. So in the dumpster, Assassin's Creed, in the dumpster, Ubisoft, I think we're done.
Funny story. I made cannabis beer with the creator of the very first Assassin's Creed.
Patrice Desilets.
No, he was. I'll have to get his name. Duma Warches.
Yeah. I know who you're on about. He was very integral. He wasn't like the original concept man, but completely
he
integral
sat in the room,
especially to the free running aspect. He was so in on that. Yeah, great guy. Like, love that guy. Like, the freedom of movement we had in those early games. Like, can I have that back in literally any other game on the planet, please? Stop animation locking me in combat and in movement.
He now runs a cannabis brand, Providence Brands, which makes infused beverages here in Canada.
Good for you, Canadians. We can't have that over here.
All right. Oh, lastly, why was the Last of Us not shown? Why did we not see the Last of Us multiplayer? You have some words on this subject here.
So there's been a bit of an announcement. Bloomberg and our dear what's his name? Used to work for Kotaku, but then left them because they were terrible, and he's gone off to work for Bloomberg. I keep forgetting his name. Oh, how bad of me. Anyway, he does some brilliant investigative journalism. He looked into the abuse and crunch cultures at multiple different studios, including CD Projekt Red, Naughty Dog, Ubisoft, EA, and Activision Blizzard. He's done some massive exposés that have changed the industry for the better. Jason Schreier, that's his name. And he has got an inside line into why we didn't see The Last of Us Factions, or that's at least what people think it's going to be called, because that's what the multiplayer aspect of the first The Last of Us was back in the day, why that wasn't at the showcase. And it is simply a case of this game is being built as a live service title. Last year, Sony acquired the masters of the live service game, Bungie, in a $3 billion deal. And they had Bungie look across all of their games as a service, live service games, to see what their viability was. What they've said essentially about The Last of Us Factions is that it looks good, it looks fun, handles incredibly well. This isn't going to last as a live service. This is a multiplayer addition to a single player game, which is what Naughty Dog are very used to creating with the Uncharted and Last of Us series. So they've had to go back to the drawing board a little bit in how to make this into a live service title, which of course is going to delay any release that they had in mind. Especially with them having announced it at the Summer Games Fest last year, you would be expecting a release date around about now for it, even if that's like 6 to 12 months off. But with this reassessment of what the game actually is and how it's going to operate through a long-term progress, they've had to go back to the drawing board a little bit. So it's been delayed internally. We never had a release date for it anyway. I wouldn't have known any different or cared any more or less if this news article had never come out, but it is what it is. We are where we are.
I think it's awesome to see this kind of collaboration make the game better. Absolutely.
Yeah.
And I'm glad that they had the wherewithal to do that. This number shocked me here. More than 37 million units of the Last of Us game were sold as of December. That's an insane success for a video game.
For a singular title as well, yeah, because that's not including part 2. That is just The Last of Us. Now, you've got to remember that has had 3 releases. So it had The Last of Us on PlayStation 3. It had The Last of Us Remastered at the launch of PlayStation 4, which made everybody look a bit waxy. I think I preferred the PlayStation 3 visuals, personally. And then we got The Last of Us Part 1 remake last year, which, chef's kiss. I loved that remake.
God.
It brought it up to what I remembered it being, like especially the visuals and mechanics. It's what I remember it being. Much easier than going back to that teeny tiny PlayStation 3 controller and playing it on there. So yeah, it's across 3 releases of the same game, but it's still a huge amount for a single player title that isn't called Skyrim.
Well, there you have it. That's why we didn't see The Last of Us multiplayer. And they did issue a official response there on their Twitter page.
Jason Schreier forcing official responses to something that we didn't even know about.
Yeah. So you can read the long message there. I did not even know you were able to write this much on a single tweet, to be honest.
You have to pay for Twitter Blue.
Oh, that's why. Look at that freaking book he wrote.
Yeah, this is why Twitter Blue is a bad idea. Twitter is not meant to be an essay platform. It is meant to be 140 characters, let's get gone. Like, I didn't like it when they upped it to 240 or 250, whatever it is, if you don't pay for Twitter Blue. So these essays, I'm sorry, I'm done. That's not what this platform is, mate.
Yeah, I mean, just do this. Just write a message. I feel like this did everything they needed to say.
Exactly, yeah.
But there's the message. You'll see it when you see it. They're going back to do some work on it. All right. Now, there was something else announced at this showcase, and that was, what are they calling it? The Sony Q?
Project Q.
Project Q?
That thing in the middle of this picture that looks like a controller with a screen in the middle. Yeah, now, Project Q.
I respect Sony's actions in the boardroom. I feel like they are doing extremely well in terms of businesses and managing IPs. But I need you to explain remote play to me and explain, I guess, First, I guess we'll start with remote play because I need to understand how this device is even going to work. So let's break into that because I don't understand it and I keep hearing different things.
Okie dokie. So this right here, this is a PlayStation Portable. This is the first handheld that Sony PlayStation brought out. And I don't know if you're going to be able to see it, but if I bring this right up to the camera, oh no, the background's trying to do a number on it. There is a little service on there called Remote Play. Now, Remote Play allowed you to, from this device, from this PlayStation Portable, connect up to your PlayStation 3 and play your PlayStation 3 games on this. It was only available on the PlayStation Portable. It was only available via the PS3. And I thought it was absolutely fantastic. I would sit in bed with this teeny tiny little handheld, playing my games in bed rather than sitting up too late at the TV. What they then did was add that onto this device, the PlayStation Vita. So this is PS4 Remote Play. So I could just tap on that and it starts booting up my PlayStation 4 from wherever I am. It's absolutely fantastic. And once it's booted up, once it's actually connected, loaded your PlayStation 4, because you can turn the PlayStation on from rest mode, you then get access to your full console. So your downloaded games, your save data, your recorded videos, your saved videos, your different applications. So if you wanted to watch Crunchyroll, for example, on your PS Vita, but you only had it installed on your PlayStation 4, which has just popped up on screen, that is my PlayStation 4 homepage right now, you could do that. You could watch whatever you wanted. If I wanted to boot up, bear in mind, Destiny 2 was released basically when this console was already dying. I could boot up Destiny 2 Season of the Deep and play it on my PlayStation Vita directly from my PlayStation 4. So all it is a remote access application. What we have now is options like this. This is my mobile telephone. It's got the Backbone 1 controller connected to it. And this is my PlayStation 5 home screen. So I can scroll through this and you can see all of the games that I've been playing. Horizon, Beat Saber, my videos that I've been recorded, Share Factory Studio, Thymesia, and so on and so forth, Ghost of Tsushima. That is full access to my PlayStation 5 console remotely. Now, it does have some provisos to it. You need to have an internet connection on either end. So your PlayStation console, whether that's the PS4 or PS5 nowadays, needs to be connected to the internet. And whatever device you're accessing it from, whether it's your PlayStation Vita, your mobile phone, your tablet, your laptop, your PC, your Mac, Remote Play is available on so many different devices nowadays that you could just play your PlayStation, your exact PlayStation console, either the 4 or the 5, on any device that you own, wherever you are in the world, as long as you can connect a controller to it. There's multiple different applications that allow you to do it. This particular one is called PS Play by Florian Grill, and that's because it allows me to use a third-party controller with it. There's also one called Chiaki, which will also allow you to get PlayStation 5 Remote Play on the Vita, which is something that Sony themselves didn't even do. And it just allows you to have that sort of cloud gaming experience using your own hardware, your own private server, your own personal internet connections, wherever you are in the world. I've used Remote Play when I was in Japan. I was in Tokyo. I was waiting before I went on stage for a cosplay competition. So I booted up my PlayStation from like 10,000 miles away and had a quick game on Destiny 2 using touch screen controls. Not even with a controller attached, just touch screen controls. That's what Remote Play is. It's just remote access to your own device, your own PlayStation console, wherever you are in the world with an internet connection. And it's a completely free application. So you can download it on mobile, whether that's Android or iOS. You can download it on Windows, on Apple, for your PC options. You can download it on all of your tablets. There's loads of ways to play via Remote Play. Wow. Does that clear it up for you?
So what you described was essentially, and sorry, I come from Stadia, right? But that's Stadia. You can play your thing on anything, but essentially my PlayStation is my Stadia server. And yeah, I can just boot up my phone, my tablet from wherever I am. I just set up a hotspot and I'm connected. Now, what I'm scared about is, am I going to get like rough gameplay? How was it from Japan? Because even Stadia wasn't, perfect, but how is the PlayStation remote experience? Is it great enough for them to really drop this handheld and say, play wherever you can get internet?
Pretty much, yeah. So if, for example, I load up Humanity here, I don't know if you're going to be able to see this one, but this is just going to load into my game. And if I come out of there, if I start running around on it, you can see that the camera moves with my finger. Yeah, and my phone is on mobile data right now. It's not connected to my Wi-Fi connection.
Wow.
So this is doing it through mobile data. It's incredibly responsive. Now, there will be times that you're going to have a bad experience. It's going to be the same with all of these sorts of applications. People have it with Shadow PC, which is a remote access PC. So you pay a monthly fee and you can connect to a PC build remotely from your phone, from your tablet, from your underpowered laptop or what have you, and use that for things like productivity or gaming or content creation, whatever the case may be. People have it with Netflix and Amazon Prime Video and so on and so forth. It's never going to be perfectly flawless. That's an unfortunate thing about any internet cloud-based service. For whatever you do, there's days where we can't access Microsoft 365, for example, which is a very low-level cloud-based service. So there are times, I played a raid with you in Destiny last week via Remote Play, and I was getting periodic screen freezes. I still managed to get through the raid. I still basically pulled my weight, but I couldn't do anything a bit more intense. But that one from Japan that I mentioned via touchscreen controls was absolutely flawless. And that has been my overriding experience of Remote Play. Over 90% of the time, it's a flawless experience. As long as you're not on like 3G internet connections, which do 2 megasecond or something ridiculous. So as long as you've got a decent speed, you shouldn't have too much of a problem.
So I get the appeal to have your own sort of dedicated tablet. And to be honest, this is just me. I think the freaking design is awesome. I dislike the flat padding gaming experience we have now. I like holding a controller when I'm gaming, and this is like, okay, I'm gonna put a Nintendo Switch here, but it's just flat, right? It's just flat.
Yeah,
It doesn't feel like a controller. That to me
it's the same
feels
thing with
like I'd
this.
be holding.
Yeah, the Vita, it's
Yeah,
a flat device. It's very flat, and you're hooking your fingers round the back like this to try and
right.
keep it comfortable, or because you've got the triggers up here, you're sort of squeezing it to keep it in your hands. But
This looks
I get what you're
nice. This
saying.
looks
This looks comfortable, and it's going to be the
yes,
most comfortable handheld gaming device out there. But, like I said, this is my phone with the Backbone 1 controller connected. And it's
yeah.
already just as comfortable as that's going to be. It's got all of the buttons. The only thing it doesn't have is rumble, but it does give me a 3.5mm headphone jack, which I'm not sure the Q is going to do when they're trying to sell you true wireless earbuds with it as well.
No, no. But I'm an earbud guy. I got my earbuds. I use even the Switch. I'll throw earbuds in.
Fair play.
I like this, and because you can wrap your hands around, right? It's gonna feel like a controller. I'm liking the design. Rumors I've heard, and I don't want to be saying this is what's going to happen, but I heard 4-hour battery life, which doesn't sound fantastic, but I guess that's what you get with Rumble on your controls and that dual sense. And then $399 price point, which I would expect
Oh
from something like that.
no. No, 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 no,
No,
no, no, no, no, no.
but these are just rumors that
They
I've
are
heard. So they're
rumors.
definitely
And I had a knee-jerk reaction when this thing was announced, and I put it up on Twitter. And I said, with it being remote play focused only, it needs to be dirt cheap or it's dead.
yeah,
And anything above 150 US, £100 UK is going to be far too much. It's going to kill it in
right.
its tracks. Now, don't get me wrong, I know a DualSense controller is about £70 anyway. And then you're throwing an 8-inch screen in the middle of it. Whether that's an OLED screen, whether that's 120 hertz, whether that's 60 hertz, we don't rightly know. We do know it's 1080p, but beyond that, there's not much more information. And if this is going for more than £100, it's dead on arrival.
Yeah,
If it's going for the $399, it's dead before it arrives.
right.
Because
Yeah,
it's not enough. It's not enough to it. Like the Steam Deck is what, $350, and that can play your entire Steam library. That can do literally everything a computer can. You can turn that into a desktop computer with a teeny tiny bit of fiddling. If this just connects to remote play, it needs to be basically a slightly more expensive controller and not in line with the DualSense Edge Pro controller. It needs to be just a bit more than the base DualSense.
I hope so, because if you're saying, and if Ray's saying 100 or $100, like even what Wibble's saying, 250, that would keep me away from it. But if it was
It'll keep me away from
$100,
it.
grab this thing,
Especially when I've already got
easily.
this. This does it perfectly already. This is a 7-inch screen. This is a comfortable controller in the hand. I don't like the offset sticks. I would much prefer to have my sticks equal down the bottom of the controller, but everyone to their own. But this does it all, and then I can make a phone call on it thereafter, which, granted, looks a bit ridiculous when you've got a controller connected to it, but I could make a phone call on it at the same time. I could watch YouTube videos whilst playing the game. There are so many more things that a mobile phone with a controller connected to it can do than just a remote play device like Project Q is meant to be.
So time will tell what we're able to see. It says there 1080p at 60 FPS. But like you said, if you're wanting to get into remote play and really test it out for yourself, you already have the device that is your phone. So be sure to test it out and give it a try.
100%, yeah.
Before we end the show, I wanted to touch on a rumor from the rumor mill in the PlayStation universe.
Go for it.
And Dorgon corrected me hard when I brought up this rumor. He's like, "Oh no, that's silly." So the rumor that came up today on my newsfeed, boom, Sony planning to acquire major third-party studio. And what is that studio? CD Projekt Red. That's right. Cyberpunk was so good, they wanted more.
Oh, thankfully, Sony have already come out and said this is a terrible rumor. Who came up with this? We are not after CD Projekt Red. And after the debacle that was the launch of Cyberpunk 2077, and after the debacle of what was the launch of the next gen version of The Witcher 3, like that thing still doesn't run well on PC. I'm glad they're saying no, because for me, CDPR right now are not the quality that everybody thinks they are. I don't think they ever have been. Every game has only been good for them about 3 or 4 years after launch, when they've actually then finished creating it. And yeah, them not buying CDPR, that is how I felt the moment I saw the rumor. It's like they were the first to pull 2077 from sale. There is no way they are going to look at this studio and say, oh yeah, they're quality, we want them. The only reason they may do it is for the IPs, and then they'll give them to a better quality studio.
I like this comment, Cyberstation.
Cyberstation.
Yeah. Yeah, but if you've seen the rumor, you can be rest assured that Sony has, from what I heard from Dorgon, released a statement saying, no, this is not happening. That this is just people stirring up some rumors in the rumor
somewhere. Yeah.
I don't get why. Maybe with the new release of Phantom Liberty, they're trying to mix up something, but yeah.
Maybe. There's no such thing as bad press. Like, look at 2077, it's still spoken about, even though it was a god-awful game at launch. Like, it's decent now. I wouldn't say it's good. There's still design flaws in the core of that title that can't be addressed now that it's on the market. But there's very much, yeah.
Weekend rumors squashed. So here we are with an update this morning. So if you heard about it, the rumor is squashed. It does not look like Sony is in talks with CD Projekt Red. Yeah. That is that. And here we have a tweet. I didn't want to bother because it's not happening and it's not possible and it's not happening. I like how he said it's not happening twice in that tweet. That's like the 10th rumor is floating around ever since 2077. He's like, enough with this stuff.
Yeah. To be fair, with how bad 2077 was, I can understand people thinking a buyout would be good so that you've got better management, better control over how all of this works. It's created, release dates and pipelines and such. But CDPR, they don't appear to be the type to want to sell, unless it was more of a hostile takeover, which for a European company is much, much harder to do. So much harder to do. So yeah, I don't see CDPR being acquired by anybody anytime soon.
All right. Well, that will put an end to that rumor. And now, before we head out, be sure to, well, thank you everyone for joining us, of course, on this awesome episode, our number 2. We'll be hopefully back next week at the same time talking PlayStation. But if anything changes, just watch socials and we'll let you know.
Now, you may not have me next week. I might be out of the country, so we may have to look for a stand-in second with Rudigs.
Yeah, what are you up to, Wibble? We'll see. We'll see.
Yeah, Wibble, you fancy filling in the British contingent?
Exactly. We need some Brits. The Commonwealth must remain strong. But I believe there's some new life to a PlayStation Vita. If you have one kicking at home, be sure to check out Dorgon. His link is in the title. You just click on it and you can check out. He's got some videos as well as the new review for Horizon Forbidden West content.
So many apps.
New life to a little device. Very cool. I love it. And if I'm not mistaken, no PC was involved in the jailbreak.
Not at all. There are occasions you might need a mobile phone to send certain files across, like some of the like PlayStation 5 Remote Play on the Vita, you need to send a file from the internet across, and you can't do the installation directly from the web browser on the Vita. So yeah, I just used an FTP server from my mobile phone to send that across. Really simple, really easy. I was surprised how easy it was, because I've heard it's a pain of a console to jailbreak. So yeah, the fact that I could do it, I think anybody can.
Wicked. All right, so don't forget to check out Dorgon's channel as well. On the Rudig's channel, I'll be up to some more Zelda Tears of the Kingdom tonight at 10 p.m. But after that game runs its course, I'll be back on PlayStation. Don't you worry. But until next time, remember, we're all gamers in the game of life.
Bye, guys.